Here's that Ariens snowblower that was delivered in the tractor bucket the other day. Got it all apart, and as I was telling you guys, when it goes under load in the snow, the auger stopped turning. Now here's the problem. What's going on is the keyway that holds this gear to this shaft is missing. As you can see, the holes are not aligned. So the augers would turn, but when it would come under load, the gear would spin on this shaft here. So now I got to take this shaft out and put a keyway in there. Now the gear isn't too tight in there, so what I've done is I've put it in the vise like that, it's loose. Then I'm just going to use a bigger object and pound it right out. Now I've got it out. I'm going to have to smooth out the ends of the shaft because it's been taken apart before and the gear is hard to put on. The reason why I took it all off is so that I can realign it after before I put it in, so that the key there matches the hole there. So what I need to find is a big half moon key that's going to fit in there, and I believe it's a 1/4 inch. And if I can't find a key, I'm going to have to make one. So I can't find a keyway at all for that, it's pretty big. So I've got a 1/4 inch shaft key here, and I'm going to start making a keyway out of that. Now measure how long of a key you need and then cut it. My hacksaw is dull, that's why I'm using the back end of it. Now to finish off your key, you're going to want to grab it in your vice grips like that. It does get really hot and it can fly out on you if you don't have it secured in some kind of pliers. Now I made a keyway with the 1/4 inch key rod, but it ended up being too shallow or too short, so I had to cut another piece out of a metal plate, which I did here, and I've got my keyway right there. What works good to smooth it out is a flat chainsaw file like that. So it's nice and smooth. I'll try it out in my gear now. So you want to make sure that this will fit in there nice and smooth. You don't want it loose in there, but you don't want it too tight either that you can't put it in. So that's perfect like that. And I'll try it out in the other shaft. Now it's sticking out just enough to catch into the gear. What I'm going to do is line up the two holes together and start putting in this shaft inside the gear. Put a piece of wood on top so you don't damage the shaft. Now once you get close to lining them up, you want to put your keyway in there. You can also put a bit of oil around the shaft to make it easier to go in. Now what you can do now is grab the two bushings you have on the other parts of the gear auger system and put them like that, or like this, and then put your piece of wood to get the shaft in there. So you basically want to pound the shaft in until the gear is centered. You can see the keyway in there. It's just on the edge of the gear and on the edge on the other side. Then you put a washer on each side. Then your two bushings. And it's pretty well centered. Now it's ready to put back into the gearbox. So here's the Ariens blower all put back together. I'm just going to try it out now to make sure that the gearbox is good. Still got the belt cover off, the carburetor cover off. There's a lot of work to be done still on the machine. So before I finish up the work on this machine, I want to make sure that the gearbox is going to work good with that keyway I put in the gear. Like I mentioned previously, because the keyway was missing in the gear inside the gearbox there, what that would cause is as soon as you hit snow with the augers, they would stop spinning. The impeller back there would turn, but everything in the front here would stop turning. So I'm going to take it outside. We don't have much snow, but I'll try it out in whatever we have, and hopefully it's going to work good. So as you can see, we've hardly got any snow, not even a foot of snow. But before, you couldn't even blow that much snow with the blower. The augers would stop turning. So I think I've got the problem solved. Now I'm just going to put it back together. It'd be good to have chains on these tires because they spin a lot. I actually do have a set of tires and chains that I'm going to put on it. These might be a bit hard to get off the rim because they look pretty cracked and there's a lot of rust on those rims. So basically the way this works, your gear shifter is here. You select all your gears over here, and to engage the auger you just basically push down and lock it in like that, and the auger goes on. There's no safety lever for the auger system, but there is a safety lever for the drive. You have to press this to go forward or reverse. Now when I put it back together, what I did for the gear case here is, because all the seals were finished, I couldn't locate any seals for the sides here and the back. So what I did is I filled the gearbox with grease. Originally these gearboxes had oil in it. It even said on the gearbox what kind of oil to use in there. But just so you know, in the future if you run into this problem, just inject grease in there through this bolt here. Or when you have it all apart, just put grease inside, put it back together. Use a low temperature grease for that. It's a grease that won't get hard when it's cold out, or you can use synthetic grease as well. Also, this blower here, I don't think this is the original motor. It looks like it's been replaced. It doesn't have points, this motor, so definitely it's not the one that came with the blower. The old blowers like this, I think, had an old HM 100 or something like that with points. But they're built solid, she runs good now, and I'm just going to put the belt cover back on, carburetor cover, and that'll be it. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in my next video.